So this is Soundslice, and one of the really exciting things about Soundslice for us at Choir of the Earth is that this is genuinely a groundbreaking use of technology in enhancing and developing the way people can learn and rehearse and develop their singing anywhere with pretty much any device. As long as it can display a web page, as long as it has access to the internet, you can get on Soundslice. You can access this through your smartphone, through your tablet, through your computer, whether it's Mac or PC. As long as it's got a web browser, you can access it. So what we've got here is one of our sound slices for Handel's Messiah. It's For Unto Us a Child is Born, which is kind of a tricky piece for choristers. And I'm just going to play a little bit of it, and it sounds like this. So far, so Messiah. And we can hear the orchestra, we can hear the various voice parts. And what I want to show everyone, in fact, if I just play it again from around about bar 11, and notice I can just jump around the screen. I'm just clicking with the mouse, or if I'm using a tablet, I just tap on the bar and it can go straight from there. And it's lovely. It's a straightforward recording. But if we now come down to the bottom right hand corner, what I'm going to do is just slightly adjust what we're seeing here on screen so we can actually see the entire window now. In the bottom right hand corner there is a little button right in the corner of the screen which looks like a fader, a mixer. If I click on that, this window slides across from the side. And what we can see is a volume control at the top, and this is just a master volume control. You can see it moving there on screen. What this allows you to do is to just set the volume, and then it won't go any louder than the maximum you've set. I've got it set quite high, but I would just advise everyone when you're using these bits of technology, just be mindful of your hearing, particularly listening on headphones. And we can see below, we can see the instruments here. We've got soprano, alto, tenor, bass. And you can see as I click, things are changing on the screen. Now by default you can see everything, you can see all four parts, but if I now say hide the piano part, say I don't want to look at the piano part, I just want to see the choir parts, it will just show me the choir parts. And I can scroll through and I can go even further with that. If I just want to look at the soprano and alto parts, I can hide the tenor and bass, and it's still, when I press play now, go this little play button in the bottom corner, and we can still hear everything, but we can just see the soprano part on its own, and this will allow you to focus entirely on the bits that you as a singer want to focus on. And I jump to now this little bit, For Unto Us a Child is Born. You can see here, I've just highlighted here by just clicking and dragging. I click at the start and hold the mouse, and I just drag it to the end of the phrase. This is one of the really tricky bits that singers are going to want to rehearse. So if I press play, and this is lots and lots of very fast moving notes, beautifully sung of course by our professional singers. But if you want to actually practice that, there are some really, really good ways that Soundslice will help you do that. First of all, if we go back down to the bottom right-hand corner, the very bottom corner where we've got that little mixer icon, and click it and come across, I just want to look at the soprano part. So I'm going to hide the alto part, and all I'm seeing is that. But I want to go even deeper. I want to just hear the soprano part on its own. So I click multi-track stems, which is just below. I'm going to turn it off and turn it on again. It's a simple tap, a simple click. And what that allows us to do then is to just say, I just want to hear the soprano part on its own. So if I close that and I press play, all we'll hear is... Unto us a child is born. And you've got that part isolated, and you can listen to it as many times as you like. And if you highlight it, as I've done here, it'll just loop round and round and round. So when it gets to the end here, it'll go back to the beginning, and you can start it again. Now, we can go even better than that, because this is a hard piece, and you might want to just practice one bar on its own. So I'm going to select just one bar, and I'm going to press play. And it just loops round and round. But I can go even better. Down at the bottom, there is, if you look along the very bottom line where you've got the grey bit that says foreign to us, and look to the right of that, you see a number 100%, and a plus and minus. And if I click the minus button, it goes to 90, 80%, and now it'll slow it down. And we can slow it down really quite a long way. I mean, bearing in mind it's doing this within the browser, so once you get below a certain amount, it does start to sound like they're slurring their words. They've been to the pub and had a couple of tomato juices. And you can do that for the entire phrase. So we get this. And this is really powerful stuff. This will allow you to just work on the specific bits you need to work on, and then take it back up slowly to 80, 90, 100%. If you're feeling particularly good about yourself, you can try it 120. But I would advise against doing that for health and safety reasons. Now, what we've also got over here is, if I bring the mixer back over, we can actually create our very own mix. I'm going to turn on, under multi-track stems, I'm going to turn on the rest of the choir. I'm going to leave the orchestra one unclicked, but I'm going to have the rest of them, I'm going to bring the volume levels to sort of halfway. You can see I'm just clicking these sliders here. It's very simple, very intuitive. And I'm going to put the soprano at the top. I'm going to make the soprano, the alto, tenor and bass a little bit softer. And now if we play it from a point where we know where everyone is singing together, we will hear the soprano part louder. Wonderful. And everyone else a bit quieter. Counselor. And let's have a look at them as well. The mighty God, the everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Which is lovely. You can hear it isolated choir parts, or you can do the inverse. You can have the soprano nice and powerful and just the orchestra, so it's just the soprano part with the instruments. Wonderful Counselor, the mighty God. So you can practice with the orchestra and without the distraction, if that's the word, of the rest of the choir. And then when you've done that, well, why not try muting the soprano part, having the alto, tenor and bass singing, and you can sing your part supported by the rest of the choir, but you can really check that you've understood what the soprano part's doing. Wonderful. So you put the soprano part in, Counselor, the mighty God. So you can sing one part without as well. And below that, if we move down to the appearance part, this is where you can customize the way that Soundslice works and looks for you. Now, by default, it just has two buttons, notation, hide, and lyrics, hide. But there's an advanced tab just next to appearance. And this opens up a world of additional support for our singers. And if we have a look here, we've got the option to put on rhythm counts. Now, not everyone will need this, but for those who are still learning really what the basics, the nuts and bolts of reading music, this is fantastic. So you click hide and show this. You can see above the soprano line it has 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Name shall be called wonderful. The a is an and. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. So wonderful, dum dum, counselor. And it's a very powerful but very simple little tool to just turn that on and help you with the rhythm. I'll hide that. You can add pitch names if you want to actually know what the pitches are. And notice it's put them on the piano parts as well. And so this will help everyone. It's displayed by default above the stave. So we see sopranos are singing a C sharp here, the altos an E, tenors an A, bass is an A, and there are chords underneath on the piano part. Again, not everyone will need this, but if you are learning how to read music. It's really useful. There's also the solfège, which is do, re, mi, fa, so, and that can be turned on or off or just hidden altogether. You can choose, if you wish, to hide any empty staves, and this makes it look a little bit more like a published score. So I'm going to click hide, and at the very start we can see, because the choir aren't singing until bar 7, it's taken the choir parts out. For the most part, I tend to leave this, I leave the empty staves in, because that just really does help me to orient myself so I know exactly where the choirs are coming in. You can turn bar numbers on for every bar. So you can actually, it's a very simple, again, simple little tab, on or off. And you can turn the instrument names on and off. I wouldn't do that. I'd make sure that it's clear that the top line is soprano, alto, tenor, bass, and then SATB continues through. A couple more bits. So we've got layout, and this is where I think people are really going to enjoy playing around with Soundslice, because all of this is very, very simple and you can't break it. All you do is you come back in and set it to the way that you want it to go. So by default, it's set up to work as effectively pages. Page 1, so you've got page 2, page 3, and so on. And it will just move down as the piece progresses. I'll just show you what that looks like. And it just jumps up when the bar moves on. But for some people, they might prefer to have a scrolled view. And so what this would do, if you click horizontal notation here, what this will do is it will scroll along in time with the music. So you can follow the line along, almost if it's an infinite score. And it's, again, it's wonderful. You can set it to all sorts of things. If we now say zoom, you can zoom in on your part. If it's a little bit small, you can make it bigger or smaller. It's a really, really very powerful tool. Going on, if you'd always wanted to sing the soprano part, but it was a little bit on the high side for, let's say you're a mezzo soprano, and you've always fancied singing it, but it goes a bit high. Well, here you can use transposition. So you've got a slider here, and what this will do is automatically change the key. So I'm going to drag it down 2 semitones, a whole tone, and have a listen to this. And this does this to all the parts. It changes the score and it changes the recording. It does all of this on the fly, regardless of whether you're listening to one stem or all of the different parts. Here it is going into the fast bit. Take it even lower. Even lower. Or let's take it up. It sounds like a record, you know, changing the tempo, but it's doing all of this digitally in the browser. You don't have to do anything. If you get stuck, just put it back so it says original key, and it'll be exactly as you would have wanted it to be. And then there's a couple more little bits. Autosave, I would leave these alone. Autosave, latency, you don't need to touch those, don't need to worry about those at all. Playhead style and position, this is for those who want to have the music work exactly as they want. At the moment, we've got the playhead, which is this orange line, which just, when it's playing, isn't displayed, but you can, if you wish. Where it says hidden during playback, you can change it to, there's a drop down here, wide rectangle, small rectangle, line, and we can actually have it play along with the music. So you can actually see the lines going on, a bit like the bouncing ball in a sing-along karaoke sort of thing. And you can change the colour of that. You can make it blue instead of orange, if that's your preference. You can even, if you wish to, highlight the current note. So you see I've just turned on this little thing here, and what it will do, it'll light each note up, the colour you've chosen. And you might not want to have this on all the time, but when you're learning a tricky passage, this is a really powerful tool to help you develop your singing. And then below that, I wouldn't worry about waveform. That just shows you the shape of the sound recording. Full screen, if you click that, it will fill up your entire screen if you're using a computer, so you can really focus on your score. And then you can even change the language that you're reading along in. And they've got a wide range of languages. They've got German, Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, Danish, Dutch. It's even Mandarin as well for those who want to read along. Give yourself a real challenge. So that is Soundslice. That's a relatively brief introduction to this. And of course we have Handel's Messiah, Mozart's Requiem. Very soon we'll have the Haydn Nelson Mass available for people to access. And you don't have to be a member of Choir of the Earth to enjoy our sound slices. And they are yours to keep once you've bought them, available through the Soundslice store. I do hope people enjoy getting to know music in a completely new and very exciting way.